Hello, everybody. Today we have a very familiar face on our stream, along with, of course, an even more familiar face, David. We have, of course, Sir Wade coming on today. I'm actually quite excited about today's chat because I haven't spoken to Sir Wade in quite some time, which I assume is because he's probably been up to his eyeballs in the many things that he usually spends his time doing. So I think we'll probably get a good dose of Sir Wade update in today's chat, and we're gonna just sort of let the conversation go where it usually goes, like we usually do. So let's bring in our faithful co-pilot, Mr. David Hubert. Hello.
Hey, Brent. Is my mic on? Yeah,
it's your on. Mic is on. Yep, absolutely.
Seems that I saw you just a few hours ago.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, we have a lot of streams this week. We have two Q&A yesterday. We have this today, and then actually tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow. There's something with kind of a bit of a special meet the expert with one of Anima Warriors, and so it'll be a good one as well.
Yeah, that's we kind of pile them up. So we started, let's do a conversation once a week. Let's do a Q&A once a week, and let's have some meet of the expert, and let's do this bingo thing. And they're just piling up to a point like we're almost streaming every day now.
I know it's. Well, it's kind of like once you start, it kind of just you keep thinking of new cool things to stream, and then one thing leads to another, and next you know, all you have is a whole pile of streams. So I want to bring in Sir Wade. Sir Wade is I think conducting some sort of ritual in his studio here. It looks like. I don't know if I bring him in now, if he's going to rise into the shot like a like a phoenix out of his own ashes, or what? I'm almost curious. I don't know whether to do it or whether I should. Maybe Sir Wade can send me a sign. Okay, good. Amazing. So apparently I can summon him in as a phoenix, and we're going to see what that looks like. I don't think we've got any special VFX plan for this particular arrival, but I guess we're all about to find out. Oh man, he's ascended. You've ascended. Oh man.
Welcome.
It's almost like I feel like I'm playing WoW and I'm doing the Kyrian Covenant quest line all over again for all the WoW nerds out there. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. It's nice to see you've risen from the grave.
You'll need to ramp up your game, because that's just on another level.
I know. See, I just have all the gear for show. He has it for like good reason, and he uses it. He leverages it. This is the difference between me and Sir Wade.
See, that's the difference between us amateur and professionals that actually do that properly stream.
Yeah. We really only have you on here, Sir Wade, so you can shame us into showing us how it's really done. So thank you for that. How are you doing?
Absolutely, anytime. I'm good. How are you?
Good. You've been busy. I've our little bird told me you've been very busy.
Yeah.
I think the little bird was you, actually. Yeah. What else is new? Exactly. Yeah. Sleep is for the weak, right? I mean, like, who really needs sleep?
What is that? Sleep?
Oh, yeah.
Right. That thing. Yeah. I don't get that.
Vaguely familiar. Yeah.
How many projects do you have on your plate currently in general?
God. I don't know. If I had to tell you the number of active tasks I have in my, it just goes. I just scroll.
Actually, I'm curious. I feel that we're just going to dive right in. How do you keep track of everything? Software, tricks, or best practice, or all of the above, or nothing, and it's just chaos management? How do you keep track of stuff?
Very poorly. As you both have experienced when you try to get a hold of me, and sometimes you're like, it's been several days. We haven't. Is he dead?
Do we call the police?
It's a mess. I don't know. I'm not great at a lot of different. Like, I try a lot of different softwares and tools and things because, I mean, without doing anything, it's just chaos management, like you said. There's just too many platforms, too many apps, too many things going on, and reminders, and my phone has all the notifications turned on, so just everything's always going at once. Yeah. And so I'm currently trying Asana, which you guys use.
Good.
Yep. I like it.
I tried Monday for a while. I liked Monday, had a cool interface, but it was just so expensive I couldn't justify it. Yeah, I use Asana, but I don't actually use it. I go in there once every other week and like look at the stuff and say, oh yeah, I forgot about that thing. Yeah. But I don't actively there's not time to be in there and updating tasks and
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, that's the other thing. There are so many options out there that it's almost this analysis paralysis that just choosing which one alone is enough to just say, And since we're not the best at managing our own time, we poorly manage our time to figure out what management app we should be using. Right. So yeah, that's why I was curious. I mean, Asana, I'm pretty much in the same boat as you. I'm using it, quote unquote, which means that I open it maybe once a week just to show all the things that I forgot to follow up on. Right. And then I close it. I'm like, okay, if I don't see it, it'll disappear. And then I scare myself again a week after. So
amazing.
I don't know. How did people used to manage their time before that they had all of those tools?
Oh, gosh.
Lots of paper randomly scattered everywhere.
I saw this comic strip somewhere, like a little panel somewhere. I don't remember what it was or where it was, but it was this great little thing that says like, oh my gosh, I have so much to do today. And it was like all day later, like working. And then the end of the day, like, oh, good. Well, now I have everything in a list that I need to do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to bed.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I think that was probably actually the biggest thing that like where tools don't help me. Like I haven't figured any of that out, but it's like, I used to make a list every day of the things I needed to do, and I would just work on that list all day. At this point, that's why I don't even check the apps anymore, because there's not time to manage the things to manage. It's just do it. You just start something and just hope you get it done.
Exactly. Yeah. Pick something and try to finish it.
Yeah. No.
It's almost like there's so much to do that you know that on a daily basis you will remember what are the most important urgent thing, and you just move forward. And anything that is important that you forget, someone somewhere is going to remind you about it. And anything that is not that important is just going to fade away and disappear and never be flagged again.
Yeah,
it's funny. I feel that's
important.
Yeah, it's funny, since we have you here, I feel that we have a lot of casual question that we'll just ask. So same as the management software, what are you usually using for communication? Because you are definitely not always easy to. What is the best way to have access?
Don't tell them. That's for us only, Sir Wade. Don't tell them.
The funny thing is there isn't an answer to that. I get that question a lot, actually, from many different people for many different reasons, of all the people who are like, hey, we might need to run this by you. Where should we? I don't know. There's not a good place. That's the thing.
Just throw something over the fence and hopefully it hits.
Yeah, I think it's because it's like, I don't have anything turned off. Like, I don't have anything that's like disabled or not allowed. And so everything gets through.
Yeah.
And so nothing gets through, right? It's because I get every DM, I get every, like, from all 18 platforms I'm on, like all the stuff. It's like email is usually the thing I check most frequently, but it's also the thing that has the most like volume at once every day. And so I always tell people, just stick with email, because like I don't check my text messages. If I looked at my text messaging app, which includes people that I know, I have 141 messages that I haven't opened.
Oh my god. Oh my god. This chat has turned into some sort of like it's either a support group or maybe a little bit of an intervention. Maybe it's both. I don't know which one. Maybe it's all of the things.
But I feel that's something that we all experience. Maybe, Sir Wade, on an other level, because you're part of so many different things. But it's the same for me. I'm trying as much as I can to keep my inbox at zero, but it always hover in between 20 unread email and 100 unread email, and I'm trying to I'm down to 18, and then boom, 45 the next day, and then eventually the last 10 email, if they've been there for 3 months, I just select all, delete. That's not going to be done anyway. But yeah, it's interesting how much there's information that we have to deal with, both in the things that we need, the to-do list and the communication and all that. So for you, we should definitely develop. I'm sure there's a tool somewhere that's going to, send this to Sir Wade, boom, it's going to send an email, it's going to contact you on Discord, it's going to send you a Slack, it's going to send, all over the place. That exists?
I don't even know.
It's from The Office. It's one of the things Ryan comes up with. He sends it, and like it's just he sends something, and like everything just starts buzzing. I don't know.
That's Woof.com. I think at the very least we could maybe try a burner phone or something like that. Like it's sort of like a special cell phone. You use it once, and then you have to dramatically break it and throw it in the garbage after we call you with it. That could be fun.
I'm only a step away from that. I have 2 phones. I have a work phone and a personal phone.
Oh boy!
And what's ended up happening? The one that has the 141 missed messages, that's the work phone. I don't even you don't even look at the personal phone.
Oh my god!
Legitimately, I look at it once a month. My parents hate it.
Oh man, I'm sure they do. It's it's funny because I can really relate to this idea of like it feels like you're shoveling snow in a blizzard. You know what I mean? It's like you keep going, but it just feels like there's no end. I think that's the problem. I think there's a gratification that comes with clearing inboxes and stuff like this, but it sort of loses its incentive. It loses that euphoric kind of endorphin releasing moment when you never get to that inbox. Or if you do, it's only for like a split second, so you can't just gaze upon the splendor that is an empty inbox. It's crazy. I think that what I've been trying to do lately is try to just reduce it a little bit. Like try to go in there, God forbid, and play with the notification settings, because usually they're all on by default. Just to try to manage it so that it's only the things you actually consider urgent are going to be poking you. That when you get a notification, you react to it. Like you can mute channels in Slack, and so they don't notify you. So you're only going to be like responding to the ones that you consider really, really important. But that takes time too. That's the problem, right? So you feel like the time you're doing that, then you're not actually getting other things done. I don't know. I totally feel you.
Yeah,
it's a pain. I hate it.
And that's a problem. I was under the illusion that it's only because we're not professional managers, so we just don't know how to do it. But then I started to have discussion with professional managers on previous work, and they were like, "No, dude, I receive 600 email a day. There's no way I can keep up with everything. It's just a curse that we have to figure out." But it's interesting. It's, how do you communicate information? How do you get information from brain A to brain B? What is the tool that's going to be used? How important is it to communicate this information? That's the same thing when you're working at a studio. How many times are you like, how can I even work? I have like 7 meetings today. And you're like, okay, at least half of those meetings are not needed, but someone somewhere didn't know exactly who needed to have all this information. So like, okay, let's all gather in a room. Let's make sure that everyone has this information. Maybe only 20% would matter, but we don't know who's that 20%. So we'll make sure that everyone is there. And then you multiply this by everything. And it gets to a point that everyone is just jammed with too many meetings. So anyway, it's a fun challenge for sure to tackle in our industry.
I think it's going to get worse before it gets better, just because Slack, it's interesting because it's trying to solve this problem in some ways, but it causes other problems because now you actually end up having, like, unless you have a team that's very disciplined and they don't create all these splintered conversations that are not like channel specific, what ends up happening eventually is you end up having people having conversations, and sometimes on multiple servers, sometimes on multiple different threads. And it's like, David and I were like, okay, look, at least between us, what we figured out is like, let's at least use the proper server for the proper conversation. We're usually pretty good at that now, I think. So like if it's on for a specific job, it's like I communicate him there on that server for that reason. And our little burner phone kind of methodology, which doesn't always work because I usually get buried in my work and I kind of get in the zone and I'm always checking my phone. But when he really needs to get home, he just sends me an actual text message. Text messages are considered like, that is like the pager, of the 1980s. So like when that goes off, it's like, oh, okay, I better return that call, as opposed to the other stuff. It's like when I can get to it, I'll get to it. Because how else, like it's like you said, like it gets, so there's so many notifications all the time. Where's the triage there? How do you then now know which one to respond to first? You need some DEFCON level that sort of tells you which one is what the priority is. And I guess what Dave and I have decided is that it's a different medium that we use in order to like have that extra separation.
There's actually an even more efficient way to reach out.
Oh yes, don't bother. Don't bother.
Carrier pigeon, smoke signals.
No, it's actually my wife. She's often on the same Slack channel, so David can always poke her and be like, "Geez, Brent's alive."
If I need Brent to answer to something urgent within 2 minutes, I text Christine, his wife, and say, "Christine, sorry, could you please get Brent's attention?" It never fails. It's always working.
Yeah.
Most of our audience today know you from your YouTube channel. So let's go a little bit back in time, and that's something that we already discussed. But for those that might not be aware, how is this idea of starting your own YouTube channel started? This motivation to share with the world your vision in the industry and whatnot.
It was mostly just that I made what I wanted to see. That's like a good bullet point tip for anybody who else is trying to make a YouTube channel or something, is make what you want to watch, or movies or games or whatever, make what you want to play, make what you but that was kind of it. Like I wanted to learn animation, and there wasn't really a place online to just go and find as a resource or to hear experiences. And so I figured, well, for 2 or 3 years I figured I should do this, and then I never did it. And then eventually I decided.
What year was it?
Oh gosh, let's see. I think I had the idea. Well, I'll come back to that. I think I made the channel in 2017. So it's been 4-ish years since I've been doing it. But I think 2013 or 14 is when I had the initial idea. Like, I should do that. And I sat on it for about the same amount of time as I've been doing it for. Imagine if I hadn't. But it's funny. The thing is, what I was going to come back to, I forgot about this, but on reflecting and telling the story lots of times, I've realized that I've actually wanted to be a streamer and a YouTuber separately. I've wanted to be each of those things since for about 10 years or so. I actually tried to be a streamer. Well, not try. Well, I put into the world my intentions to start the process. At the time, I didn't have very good friends, and so I had a couple friends who basically talked me out of it and said, that's never going to work. No. And there was a time where I didn't have the confidence to say, no, I'm going to try it anyway. So I was just like, oh, well. But there was a time in 2012 where I was like, I'm going to be a streamer. I'm going to make this type of content. I'm actually going to be like a game streamer, do Let's Plays, all this stuff. And it just seemed like a lot of fun. But then I got talked out of it and like, oh, you'll never this and that and this and that, all of which I've now done, which, you know, jokes on you for doubting, but jokes on me for listening, you know. And then I actually started kind of YouTubing back in 2013 or 14. I got to go to E3 and I filmed the whole thing. I made like videos I did reviews. I did it all on green screen. I made all the videos. I like actually created a catalog of videos that I never ended up uploading. I didn't make the channel. I didn't post it anywhere, but I was actually doing the stuff years in advance, not around animation. I hadn't really found my passion for that yet, but around just things I was interested in. I was making vlogs. I actually did travel vlogs because I got to go on a trip, documented it. So anyway, just that thing of it, looking back, it makes a lot of sense how I got here.
Did any of those videos that you make ever see the light of day on your channel?
Some of them went unlisted, and I'd like show the family or something. It was oh, how was your trip? I made a video. Here, just watch that.
Well, what about the old E3 ones? Did they ever get rid? No. Oh man.
I actually even did an interview.
Did you see those?
Yeah, the first. Oh gosh, that video was terrible.
Terrible, great, I'm sure.
Oh, no, just bad. I really thought I was like, oh, this is gonna look great. Like I didn't understand lighting. Like I was, it's just bad. No, but I actually did an interview when I first got into animation. I interviewed my the head of our 3D department at the community college that I went to. And he was an animator for many years and then started teaching. And I interviewed him. I'm like, I want to start this YouTube thing. Would you be interested in like interview? And he was my first interview. And I still have all the footage. I never released it, but it was actually a good interview. Dig that footage up. But
you should totally, you should unearth some of these old gems. I think if people will get a crack out of it right about now. You'll cringe, but I'm sure everyone else will eat it up because it'll be, I mean, because obviously you've come quite far since those days. I mean, you've got things figured out, so it'd be kind of just funny at this point. I was actually talking about digging up some of my old drawings from college just to put on the stream, just so we can all laugh at myself. It'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
For me, it's the quality. No microphone, no lighting.
That's it. That's it. I don't think he's biting, folks. I'm trying, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
I think that's definitely a recurring theme with most that we have on the stream of why did you get started? What was the motivation of the inspiration? And which is basically, I solved a problem that I had. I was looking for this, it didn't exist, so I did it. I was looking for this type of service, it didn't really existed, so I just created. So it seems that, scratching your own itch of whatever you are frustrated about or don't understand why it doesn't exist already, and just do it seems to be the starting point to so many projects out there. I would ask from your side, because there's a big difference between streaming and the pre-recorded video or interviews and all that. I mean, on our side, that's something we've discussed with Brent. It seems that streaming, it's almost like, well, it's live and we cannot control it, so we're going to be prepared just enough and let's see how it goes. As when it's pre-recorded, it's almost like there's a little analysis paralysis of, oh my god, I need to make sure, and then you re-record yourself like 20 times just to make sure that it's perfect. How do you see those two, and is there one that you prefer than the other?
Which one do I prefer? That's hard, because I like the polished YouTube video, something I can say like, this is done. Like, it's not perfect, it's not the best thing I've ever made, but it needs to go up, and I'm calling it finished. Go, and then you get to kind of sit back and watch the response to it. That's fun. It's also nerve-wracking at times, but it's exciting. However, I find that when you're doing that type of thing, that mentality of perfection can very easily creep in and force you to re-record and keep working and keep trying and never decide it's actually finished. Whereas if you're doing live stuff, you just, like you said, you just throw it at the wall, see what sticks. And then often you don't even mess up that much. Like when you're live, like I can't talk this succinctly. Like I haven't messed up talking hardly at all. I can't do this when I'm recording a video.
Yeah.
So what's the deal? Like,
I'm exactly the same way. So crazy.
so I love that about live, that you can just kind of go and it usually just works and flows. It's interesting when you try to kind of repurpose it. I found that live often doesn't translate to recorded just as it, like, it's so much about the experience of the viewer. Like anybody who's watching right now, if I pause and go, and then I start talking again, it feels a little odd when I draw attention to it, but it also can feel pretty natural because it's just conversation.
Yeah.
You can't do that in a video. The pacing feels off. People have it on the second monitor. They tune out immediately, and then you start talking. They're like, wait, are you still going? And then they close it. Like, it's just this, it's very weird.
It's sort of like the expectation is different from an audience level, right? Like I mean, the other thing too, of course, is the interactivity of an actual live stream can be fun, right? So it becomes more of a social event and hanging out as opposed to it being like something that you're watching to gain information. You know, like I think that's one of the main differences, like expectationally from an audience. I think, at least it is for me. Like when I watch a live stream, it's because I kind of just want to be part of that conversation in some way. Where the other one, it's like, no, if that video is not giving me what I'm looking for, then I go to the next one. Like it's quite as simple as that.
Yeah, and it's interesting when you're like watching. Like I've done this where I need something on to do whatever I'm doing, and I can't put on something like too engaging, like a movie or something, because I'll just sit there and watch it. And so I'll put on an old stream, like, oh, like this person's not live, but I'll just put it on. And occasionally, like something will happen, and you'll be like, oh, I want to like, oh, it's not live, dang. But yeah, it has that like intrinsic, like communal. You're in it, even if you're watching it after the fact. You're like, wait, oh, it's not live. Oh, but you felt like it was. It just feels different.
Yeah. Coming back to the content or the very early days when because that's very interesting that you've been convinced by your friends or peers that no, it's not a good idea, or you won't be able to do it, to eventually do it. Was there any sense of this anxiety of pressing on the upload button at some point, or was there any stress of, oh my god, how am I going to be perceived? Was there a too high level of self-awareness that created stress to put yourself in the open, or was it more just the entire, from creating the work to the editing to putting to monitoring how it's going on and so on?
There was definitely like upload anxiety, and it's funny, like I'd say like, yeah, the self-awareness thing, but also like complete lack of self-awareness is kind of needed as well. Because it's like, oh, like I'm gonna do this, how is it gonna be perceived? Like there's that whole thing of like how or whatever. But then at the same time, like I waited 2-3 years to make this channel or however long it was, and then finally decided, yep, my quality has reached its peak. I'm ready. And those videos are terrible too. Like I had no clue. So it's like you kind of have to be blind. Anyway, yes, super upload anxiety, because the whole thing was just like, I was basically just starting the channel by telling my story about like, hey, like this was what I was like as a kid. This is the kind of stuff I did in high school. Like my first videos are me sitting on a couch, looking directly into a camera and talking like this, just very casually. I hadn't figured out stage presence. I hadn't figured out how to emote. And I just sat here talking, telling my story about my life and how animation was interesting, blah, 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 blah. And it was just like me sitting there talking and hoping, like, I hope this is interesting to somebody because I'm just talking about me. So yeah, I was terrified to upload those videos. That was awful. But back then, I think, because there was no one else doing it at the time, there was nothing to compare me to, luckily. Like, the platform had a high standard, but what I was doing was new. So I didn't have to be very good to get people to kind of relate, I guess. Now I think if you started, you'd have to have a little bit more personality. Not a ton. You could still do it that way, but it was easier then, a little bit, luckily.
How was the growth from the first video that probably just had a few dozen views or maybe 100 at first and eventually ramping up? Because, I mean, as the quality of the content is going up, the viewers are going up as well. But as more viewers, you kind of feel obligated to create better content. So those are kind of feeding each other. So how was the progression at first, maybe the first 6 months or first year to get where you are today?
That's a good question. I think the first, how long would it have been? I think the first 7 months or so, I toiled in obscurity, right? I worked and I didn't. I mean, I was surprised at how many views I got. I got in the hundreds of views. I don't think I ever hit 1,000, but my videos would get 400 or 500 views, and that was shocking because I didn't have a following of any kind. I didn't have like hardly any friends in animation. Like I didn't come in with any advantage of like, I don't know, any way to get a head start, I guess. And so it was just like pure organic growth, got 400 or 500 people, kind of built a little community of that. And then I'd ask them like, hey, like, what do you want to see? Da, da, da. And at that time, there wasn't a lot of pressure. I also wasn't taking it very seriously. It was such a side thing. I wanted to be making consistent content, but I just wasn't that much of a priority. And so I actually made a spreadsheet. It took me too long to find. I made a spreadsheet at one point because I realized how long it was taking me to actually like make videos, but I wasn't putting in a lot of work. And I made the spreadsheet where it was just like the video name, title. It was my attempt to be organized and manage my stuff, and that's where that began. And it was just a Google Sheets document where I had a few basic formulas, and I would say like, I went into my folders and I was like, what day did I like record the media? What's the timestamp of the footage? And then when did I finish the video and upload it? And it was always like a 1 day difference. It was like I'd film and edit a video in a day, but then I wouldn't film another video for like 2 or 3 weeks. And so the time between videos was just like these giant gaps of time. Anyways, that was before I really took it seriously, but everything kind of changed when I made, I forget the exact title, but it was bringing the live action. It was if anyone's seen the picture of me sitting on the couch playing video games with the animation mentor character, that was kind of the video that put my channel on the map as far as like it went super viral.
I think it's the first one I saw, like, to be honest with you. I honestly think that was the first one I
Yeah,
saw.
probably the same. So for those that would not be familiar with it, what was the content and why, in your opinion, did it took off compared to the others before?
I have no idea why. It's one of the worst videos I had made at the time. I filmed
wasn't
it at
bad.
3. Oh, it was bad. I filmed it at like 3 or 4 in the morning. I had like bags under my eyes. My hair is all crazy. I was trying a different thing with the video too. Like instead of shooting with the good camera, because I had my nice camera that I didn't know how to use, I'd normally shoot. I try to put like a background and stuff. This one, I literally just took a webcam, stuck it on like a tripod, and put a black sheet behind me because I was like, oh, I'm going to try a tutorial, but I'm going to put my face on the screen because that wasn't a very common thing. And I didn't have a green screen, so I was like, I'll Luma key. Like, I'll put like a dark background and I'll just key out the darkest values. So I ended up as this little like tired looking ghost on the side of the video, just like, today we're going to do this thing. And for some reason, that video took off, and I was upset. When it went viral, I was mad.
It was the practicality of it. I think it was like everyone is like it would seem like something that anybody could theoretically do and make like a fun like photo of themselves doing something with their cartoon version of themselves. I think that really is why. I think it's like it transcended beyond the animation sort of world and went into things that anybody would be interested in seeing, like, how is that done? Because so many people who don't animate, they don't know any of this stuff. So it seemed like probably a very accessible, because it wasn't like an animation tutorial. It was like, just how do you pose a character in 3D, and then how could you then maybe Photoshop that into a picture like that? It seemed more accessible, I think. That's my attempt at trying to figure it out, but I think that's probably has something to do with it.
I think that's what everyone thought it was going to be, but I can see from the watch time of that video's analytics that they were disappointed very quickly.
Oh, really?
That was one of the big general consensus.
Oh, that's
of the
funny.
thing. Like, I thought here thinking this would be easy. What the heck is this? Like, because everyone realized, like, oh, I'm not just going to Google, finding some PNG, and then dropping it in. Like,
there's a bunch of work.
Everyone was all so upset. Like, why would you do all this? Blah blah blah. I'm like, where do you think PNGs come from? Somebody has to make them. We're talking about that. Like,
exactly.
This isn't drag and drop stuff. So people were upset. That was the kind of the general, funny. But enough people clicked it and stuck around for the first 2 minutes that YouTube didn't really care at that point.
They stuck a lot around just enough before getting like pissed off and leaving that it made it viral. That's cool.
So it's interesting. Even if arguably you are happy with the content, it might have been the title, the thumbnails that just hit just enough curiosity by enough people spent at least 2 minutes, which means that the algorithm just said, oh, that's something that I should push to other people. And then it's just like, and that was the beginning of it.
Pretty much. But it also took 4 months for that to happen. It was weird. I posted the video and I think September or November or something, somewhere around that time. Didn't go
Yeah,
viral until February.
that's it. YouTube is
Hmm.
such a weird beast. It's like no one really understands exactly.
Hmm.
As soon as you think you know how it ticks, it's like no, it's like
Yeah.
they'll
And
do something to surprise you.
and what happened after when you realized that, oh shit, now I have a spotlight on myself? It's now or never. I imagine there was a little bit of this feeling of, okay, it's my shot because most probably my next video are going to benefit from this extra exposure and I could kind of use it, or it was not even on your radar. You thought it was a one thing that would never happen again.
There there's three things. There was pressure, but it wasn't like I wasn't disillusioned by it. Like I knew that like a viral video is kind of a random thing that happens that you can't really control unless you're Mr. Beast or Mark Rober, but
Yeah, that's true.
and you're just really good at making them, but
Really good.
I knew that it wasn't something that I could really do again on purpose. It was especially because I hated that video so much. I was just like, oh god, this one, of course. Well, we'll see if that ever happens again with a better video, but I don't know. Not counting, not holding my breath. There was a new pressure once that happened to, I guess, I don't know, like, it wasn't to keep making stuff. It wasn't to make better stuff. It was sort of like the things that people wanted to see. That's what it was. It was the bigger my channel got, the more I wanted to, the more I started aiming to make the stuff that people said they wanted. Except most of the time, people don't know what they want. You just have to make a thing and then hope it resonates and then they end up liking it. Like you can't expect people to tell you the videos that are going to work well for your channel because they came for what you have to offer, not for what they are requesting. Even if sometimes like I'll make a video, people are like, "Oh, make this video." And they ask,
then nobody
and they
watches
ask,
it.
and then nobody watches it. Nobody clicks on it.
Classic.
And maybe that's my fault for not making the title and thumbnail sexy enough, but I try my best and it just doesn't, like, you know, I'll message that person. I used to actually message the people who came up with the video I did and say, "Hey, the video's here. Here you go."
I did that thing you asked
Yeah.
me to do. So you better damn well watch it.
And yeah,
And then they don't anyways.
Most of the time people are like, "Oh, great, thanks." I don't know if they ever saw it, but one person I like made it, didn't do it. And then like months later, I was like, "Oh, by the way, like I did make that video." Because they commented on another video like, "Did you ever do it?" Like, "I did. You can go click my channel."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, thanks. I saw that one. I didn't click it." I'm like, "You asked me for it. You even commented a second." I don't know.
Why do I even bother? By the way, I've always appreciated your thumbnails. I think they're really fun. I think the latest one, I think the latest video, you might have put another one since I saw this, but was the, an animator tries Unreal for the first time. And you're like this, you're kind of like, it's like your face is being melted, like Raiders of the Ark style. Like it's so funny. I haven't watched that video yet. It's my what to watch later list. Sorry, but I will. I promise.
No.
Yeah, I'd say most people do indeed just want faster horse until you can actually bring a, hey, look, it's a car. You have no idea what it is, but trust me, it's way better than what
It's way faster.
It's way faster and more convenient. Is there some videos that are like your favorite videos to do? Do you have your own preference in terms of the content that you create, that you might be like, okay, this one might not reach an insane number of, but I just really like to do those?
Definitely. I even made a little playlist on I don't think people really go to my playlist. No one really uses those on YouTube unless it's like music, but I use them to categorize my videos just so I can find them later because I have so many. Well, I don't have that many, but I don't want to dig. And I have a playlist called like some of my favorites, which is just where I put some of them. But I generally tend to like the ones that I like unlocked a new like level of production, or I tried a new style, or I did something different. I'm like, oh, that was really fun. I really liked the way that came out. And unfortunately, a lot of those videos don't get that many views, which is a bummer. But yeah, like I put out one today. One went up this morning, actually. It was a sponsored video with NVIDIA. I had one like a month ago where I did that. I think it was on the Twitter, but I did one like a month ago with like the AI Terminator face thumbnail. And I just put out one today that's basically like previs workflows. Some stuff I learned at DreamWorks that I had forgotten about until 4 years later today, or 3 years, however long. But I really like today's video. It's a different format for me. It's a little bit more kind of narration, time-lapse, B-roll. There's like, because I actually filmed a whole kind of production vlog when I was trying to make it, but the footage like didn't work because it was too loud, and I had music and copyright, and I couldn't deal with that. And like there were issues, so I had to kind of adapt it. And what it turned into, I ended up liking. I have a Disneyland video that's like super B-roll heavy. It's like all this beautiful footage of Disneyland, which I watched several times. Just like I turned off my sound and I just put it on during COVID because I'm like, oh, Disneyland, I miss you.
Awesome. So you mentioned that there's no necessarily a correlation, or actually an inverse correlation in between those that you liked yourself and the number of views. Then which one would you say are, is there a recipe that you can say, oh, here's my top 10 videos and they are all sharing those different aspects? Is there some similarities between all the most successful, quote unquote, in terms of the numbers of views, not necessarily those that you preferred yourself?
Not really. I think if I were to look at my channel off the top of my head, the most viewed video is that one that went super viral. And when it went super viral, I keep saying it went super viral, it got like 700,000 or 800,000 views in like a month or 2 months or something. At this point, it's like 2 or 3 million views. Like it's just continued growing through the years. And that one has nothing in common with the one after that, which I think is like a 2D animation software tutorial review type thing. It was a sponsored video with Adobe, actually, which ended up working out pretty well because at first it didn't do that well. And as the sponsored video doesn't perform, you're like, oh crap, like they paid me for this. And now it's like, okay, well, that worked. That video turned out pretty well. So, hey, I'll take it. But then all the other ones after that, it's like there's a couple tutorials in there. There's like a tablet review. Like there's kind of no consistency.
No pattern. Interesting. No. That's frustrating, I'm sure, for someone like from your perspective, because it'd be nice to at least see something that be like, oh wow, that you start to see the matrix. Like apparently, Mark Rober's and the Beasts of the world, or Mr. Beast of the world, have clearly somehow figured out how to decode. But I guess the search continues. You're still dealing with a little bit of that. You follow your heart and make the videos that you'd want to watch, and then just hope some of them work, and knowing that some of them aren't going to work as well. Is that basically the strategy at this point?
Pretty much. There are some things that I know I can do to boost views and to get more clicks and stuff, but I often don't. It's a mix where like sometimes I know, oh, this title would, like I had an alternate title for today's video that I think would have performed a lot better. I didn't have an alternate thumbnail, which is probably why my thumbnail is what it is. I wish I had an alternate thumbnail. I couldn't come up with a better one. But I had a better title and I knew it would get more views, but it also didn't feel authentic. It didn't feel, it felt, you have to be careful with clickbait. Yeah. Like you want people to click your stuff. You have to word things in a way that's like, ooh, that's really appealing. And I want to know what that is. But you also have to deliver on that. Yeah. And you don't have to deliver exactly as people expect, but it has to be close enough that they don't feel misled or like they've wasted time. And that's kind of what I was afraid of with the alternate title. I was like, it doesn't really mean what I think people will think it's going to mean. Audience perception is a big thing you're kind of trying to play when you're making the things. And so the video is not doing great, unfortunately. So everyone watching should go watch that video. But the other title probably would have helped, but I don't think it would have been right, sort of thing.
So it's almost as if, you're losing a bit of trust currency by, okay, it's going to do better now, but I'm going to lose, I don't know, 3% on all the upcoming videos, because even if I have an appealing title, there's a few people that will remember that they were disappointed with this one. So it's interesting. Yeah.
If someone says this one, let me check. I'll tell you if it's the right one. Oh, it's not working. I can't click it.
You
Probably. Let me try just copy pasting it. I'll copy paste it. There we go. That's the one. That's the one. Thanks, Sonny.
See, that's the interactivity of live stream. Boom.
You have your insert. I can't click on it. It doesn't let me click on it because it's in chat when I try to click on something, it shows it on the on the stream like this. I can't actually click on links. I'll check it later.
There we go. How do you, not necessarily where is your inspiration coming from? Because I'm pretty sure that you have a list of ideas of but how do you decide, okay, the next one is going to be this? Is it purely, okay, it's been long enough, so I feel that I should do this one? Is it because, I feel like I want to do this one? Or is it based on the feedback or requests that you receive? How do you choose your next video? When
things are going really well, it's sometimes based off like audience stuff. Like the next video I'm working on is about smears and duplicate limbs and stuff. A video I'm super excited about. Been wanting to do it for years. Never really got around to it. But somebody in my Discord was like, "Can you do a video on smears?" And I'd done the demo on Twitch so many times. I was like, "I can do a video on that, no problem." It's been 3 or 4 weeks since I started that video. It's almost ready, but I still have to. I'm hoping this week. If not, it'll be Monday. It's coming very very soon. But that's an exception to the rule, that it came from a direct request. Usually that doesn't work out so serendipitously. Is that the word? But the usually, unfortunately, it comes down to just like, which one do I have time to make in a day or two? If I'm always kind of playing this game of ketchup where I'm like, okay, cool. Like today, great example. I posted a video today. The timer resets. Like, I want to get another video up as soon as possible. I used to be on a 2 video a week schedule. I'm right now struggling to be on a 1 video a week schedule because of some of the stuff I'm working on. It's just taking my focus. And so it's like, okay, well, I want to be doing one video a week just because I want people to know I'm still alive and making good stuff. And so video went up today. I've got 7 days. What can I do in a week? But I'm not filming today. Like, that's another thing, is like I need a haircut. I just showered not long ago, which means that the headphone hair is going to be real, which means like I will not be able to film today unless I re-shower, which I'm not going to do because I've got other work to do. So it's like these different circumstances kind of dictate how my schedule is going to go. And since I can't film today, what about tomorrow? Well, tomorrow's a meeting day for me. I've got meetings all day, so I can't film tomorrow. So can I film Friday? Like, it's iffy because this. So it kind of ends up being this thing where I get several days into the week and I'm like, I need a video to go live in like 4 days. I need to give my editor time to work on something. What can I film now with very little prep work because I haven't had time to prep? What can I do format wise that my editor can just kind of take and run with it because we don't have time to like figure out a new thing, and so on. So that unfortunately is usually how I pick my videos. It's just like, what can I throw together? Which I hate because all my best ideas I'm saving until I have time, but I never have time. So I never do my best videos. It's very frustrating.
That's interesting. We had Brenda and I started a stream a couple of weeks ago. I think last week was yesterday was actually number 8. We do this weekly Q&A that we take questions from the from chat. And one of the questions that we had yesterday is, how do you keep your motivation to persevere? And I'm pretty sure that's something that you have to deal with as well, because sometimes everything goes well, you're inspired, you have time, you showered, you're motivated, and you're ready to go. And there's other weeks that you're like, can I just put my headphones and animate this week? I don't feel like doing any of this. So first of all, do you experience those dip in motivation? And if so, do you have any tricks that you kind of use to remotivate yourself? Because, you know, the show must go on.
It happens on an hourly basis. I'll have days where, you know, I'll wake up, I'm like, I am pumped, I'm going to film, I'm going to have a great day. And then I wake up and it's like, I can't jump right into work. I need to like eat something, or I need to do something else. Like, oh, I need to take the trash out, or who knows? Something comes up. I'm like, okay, do this first. And in that hour that it takes me to come back to my desk, I come back, I'm like, I don't want to. Okay, let me just. Oh, that's a lot of emails. No. Oh, that's a lot. No. How about? Oh, I thought I was further along, or I thought that looked better. No. Now what? Yeah, it happens constantly. And I always tell people an answer, and it's a real answer, but it's not always the way I go about it. The thing I try to do, and what I tell people often, is like, it's your job. You show up, you got to push through, you got to do it anyway. So you got to sit there and go, oh, I don't want to, let me just pick I'll just pick the easiest one. I'll start with that. And then you just go. So like, yeah, at times you just kind of push through it, but that doesn't always work, especially when you're like filming. Like, I have done that with videos. I've done that where I'm like, I have to film. I have to film a video today, or I have to go on stream. Like, I've done that too. Streaming, they can tell. That's the worst part, is like, yeah. You look tired today. I'm just, but it doesn't often work very well when you're filming a video, because the energy, just like when you're like, it feels off. Like my smears video, I actually like the video a lot, but I kind of was having a day when I filmed it. Like, it was late. It was just a long day. I finally filmed it. I thought it was great. And I reopened the project last night to kind of peek at it. and the energy is just kind of low. And I'm like, I got to refilm half this now. And so it doesn't always serve to push through. Sometimes you do need to do other things. And for me, that's gaming. Like gaming is the thing that I'm like, I'm taking 3 hours. Like no one's going to die in 3 hours because of what I'm like not doing. So I'm just going to like go over here. I'm going to play God of War, which I've now finished.
Good job.
Go do this, go do that. And sometimes you just take some time and you're like, I'm going to go decompress and commit to decompressing, because if I like sit here, I'm not going to work. I'm going to like watch a video, I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to like kind of halfway relax, but I'm not actually going to feel good about it. And so at the end of those couple of hours of wasted time, I'm not going to be any better off. I'm going to be in the exact same position of like, I'm supposed to be working. So I just say, screw it. I'm not working right now. I'm going over here and I go over there. I enjoy it. I'm like, I feel better. And then I can come back and I can work. So you have to like draw that line.
Yeah, I can definitely relate. I think there might be this perception from the external world that, those like when they see you, you're always, fully energized, you're smiling, you're on the video, you're this and that. And they're like, oh my God, how can they be constantly inspired and motivated 24/7? It's amazing. But no, that's that's not how it goes. I definitely relate of, okay, what is the smallest task I can accomplish? All right, I'm going to go finish the dishes. Let's see if I check this task, maybe it's going to bring a little bit of motivation back, and eventually, worse comes to worse, if nothing works for you, it's video game. For me, it's just music. I'm like, okay, I've been procrastinating for 2 hours doing all those little small tasks. I'm not as motivated as I should be. Let me put some music that's going to put me in the mood. And usually it's a good mood lifter for me. I don't know how.
Let me jump in with a question here. What are you playing these days? So you just finished God of War. What's next on the queue?
Well, I have two like levels. I have 3 levels of gaming that I need to do. There's like I'm going to sit down and I'm going to play games, which is rare, but it's when I need it, and that's the God of War. That's what did I play? I got a PS5, so I play, and I haven't had a PlayStation console since PS2.
Oh wow!
Console. So I missed all the good. So I played Spider-Man, played Miles Morales, God of War. I have started Last of Us, but I haven't finished it yet. So that's the one where
first one you're going through right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's been months since I've actually gotten to play it, and I keep wanting to, but there's just not time to like get into the zone.
I'm so jealous that you're playing that for the first time. That's so cool. You're playing the remastered one, I guess, right, on the PS5. Yeah.
And I've stayed away from all spoilers for all these years. So
wow, I'm impressed. I haven't played the second one yet. It's on my list of things to do, but it's like you. I don't want to half-ass play it. I want to like when I have actual time, because I know that I'm just not gonna be able to walk away. I'll play it like for 3-hour sessions for sure. And so I need to be able to like dedicate some time for it. But
exactly. And so that's the thing where like that's why I have the different levels. It's like if I can game, then that's on my list. Haven't had time for a while. Yeah. So then it's like, okay, well then there's like the bedtime or the travel games, like my Switch, where it's like, oh, like I just got Stardew Valley, which everyone has always talked about. I never played it. And I was on a trip and I was like, I need something for the plane. So I got Stardew Valley, super fun, super casual. I don't play it that often. And then the last level is just like the complete like throwaway game. Like the rounds is right now the thing. I'm like, I have 20 minutes.
Okay.
I'm playing rounds, and it's just like your little spheres, and you pick the cards of like it's fun. If you don't know
so easy to pick up and so easy to put down. What was
it's like $5.
What was the example game that was in the middle category?
Stardew Valley.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Super casual.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. There was another one. Dead Cells. That I
love Dead
Cells. That's in that category.
So good.
Rounds. Yeah.
So easy to just pick up and run with it. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my. Sorry, go ahead.
This game cracked. They cracked the code of how make you feel super like really good very rapidly. It's a masterclass of that. You've played for half an hour and like, oh my God, I'm killing this game. And then you start over and over and over and over, but it's so good.
You stream yourself playing games sometimes, don't you, on your stream?
Sometimes. And that was really out of kind of burnout more than anything. That was literally me running out of motivation saying, I cannot be creative on command today. I'm going to play video games, and you're either going to stick around and hang out, or you're going to leave because it doesn't suit you. But
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not going to change my decision because of
Yeah.
that.
No, that's cool though, because I mean, it also gives people a chance to hang out with you in a completely different way, right? Like just watch you blow off some steam rather than entertain the masses, right? You just hinted at something that was going to be my next question, which is like this, the YouTube burnout, which is like a real thing, right? And a lot of YouTubers suffer from this because of the, and you've pretty much painted that picture, right? This idea that there's always these videos you want to make, but they never seems time because you're making the videos you need to make. And it just, after a while, it just starts to feel like you're just chasing after your own tail, and people burn out because it seems like it's such a dream job. Which I'm sure it has its many perks for sure. But I mean, there's a strange pressure that gets built because now you have a community of people that are kind of, some of them even expecting new content, right? Especially when you start getting like Patreon and you start having people join channels. It's like suddenly it's not just kind of just for fun anymore. It is like there's a job aspect to it. And like, have you ever like how do you avoid this from happening, or like have you ever run into points where you literally did be like ask yourself, maybe I just need a vacation from this?
That's actually what I did with the streams. I haven't streamed. What is it, July? Oh God, it's already almost August. Last time I looked at the calendar, it was like April or March or something. And that's when I streamed last. I haven't been on Twitch since March or April for that reason. I basically got just there was a huge pressure every time I'd go live. And, some people didn't mind. They just kind of like, do what you need to do. Some people would show up and like, hey, you opening Maya? Opening Blender? Like, what are you doing today? Like, what are we making? What are we animating? Like, you're not working on it.
Yeah.
And that was an enormous pressure to have to come on twice a week and turn on and it was always the same thing. Like I'd be up till 4 a.m. the night before working on stuff because like I'm not going to have tomorrow to work. I have to be streaming. Yeah. And since I always do creative streams, those streams can take 8, 9, 10 hours easily where I'm like working on a thing because I like to actually finish a thing or get close. And so I'd be tired. I'd wake up, shower, go right to the stream, start going, have to, I'm an introvert. A lot of people don't know that. Like I'm super introvert. And yet I have this kind of on camera, not that I'm a different person or like, I just pull out all the energy for when I'm on camera because I'm a very energetic person, but I thrive when I'm alone, not when I'm in a group of people. So that was a lot of energy twice a week. And having to be creative and all that stuff. Absolutely. And having people show up expecting me to be working on something all the time.
Yeah. I think it's important. It's important we talk about these things though, because I just feel like, it's easy. People don't know, right? Unless you've made a channel before and you have the kind of numbers that you're pulling in of people watching and the kind of pressure that sort of comes with something like that. It's like people, sometimes I feel like it's healthy for fans of YouTubers to just put things back into perspective, just to understand that the level of commitment and time and energy that gets put into these channels, it's a lot, and I'm sure that most, if not all of your particular community appreciates it. But there's a difference between appreciating it and like connecting with it and like quite, empathizing with it. Cause it's, you said the last time we talked about this kind of stuff, you're like, it's kind of fun because you don't usually talk about the actual streamer aspect of your kind of day-to-day operations. It's sort of like it's usually talk about things that you did stream about as opposed to the actual mechanics of making them. So it's, I don't know. I'm glad we're having this conversation because I think it's kind of a good eye opener for people.
Yeah, that's actually something like I kind of want to start making videos about making videos, but that's one of those things where it's like that comes with its own pressure of like, the YouTube algorithm knows me as this person. Then I put on a fake mustache and they go, we don't like you anymore.
Yeah. Alpha Gaming. What's his name? I always forget his name for some stupid reason. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Harris Heller, is that his last name? Yeah. He does great videos, but like he's exactly doing that, right? A lot of his videos are dedicated to helping other people start their own streams and their channels, but he also does professional like game streaming as well. Like that's sort of like he's got a decent following in that respect. I wonder if he got even bigger after he started doing because I don't know what he was like before he was doing this sort of the hey, I'm here to help you like start a stream kind of videos. Like
that's what put him. Yeah, no,
that's what put him on the map. Huh? That was his
niche. I've been following him since before he blew up.
Okay, interesting.
I've been around since the beginning. No, yeah, because that was the thing. I even met him at TwitchCon. I talked to him a little bit about it. Not very long. I don't like know him super well or anything, but he'd been trying to do. I mean, he and his wife did Vine before.
Yeah,
like they had.
I remember that.
So he's got experience with it, but he didn't really have a following.
Yeah.
Until he kind of cracked off of gaming, it was like he became the stream doctor. He became the guy who helped people with their streams, and that's what kind of
interesting.
His channel grew, and then his own stream,
of course,
grew from that. And
so backwards to what he was probably thinking was going to happen, but it's fun that it's just a good example of someone who just doubles down on what's working, which is like kind of probably what you've been doing all along too.
Trying to.
I'm curious. So, do you have any thoughts about his switch? Because he went from Twitch and now is streaming with YouTube Live. Is that a question that you ask yourself? Which platform am I going to use, or that not really something that you are concerned with so far?
I'd actually been thinking about that, making that switch, or I'd been considering that switch, months before Harris did it, because I think he also was thinking about it for a long time. I had a similar kind of thought process.
And he made it very public that he was switching, and what was the reason why he was switching, which was very interesting.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense for him to have made the switch. For my own stuff, I'm still playing with the idea. I'm actually considering it still pretty strongly. Because one of the big things is, like, I have built the majority of my business on YouTube. Like, that's the source of pretty much everything. It's my biggest platform. It's my most active platform, and it feeds everything else. And it's kind of that mix of, like, I used to go live on YouTube every now and then, usually to bring people over for a 24-hour stream, because not everybody knows that I would stream on Twitch. And it's also hard to get people to switch platforms. If they're there watching YouTube videos, to have them click a link, go over here, potentially make an account, follow, like, learn the terminal, like, that's a lot. And so the conversion was better than most, because my videos got a lot of people to be like, I want to see this, and they'd come over. But it's still a conversion. Like, it still takes, it's a very small number of people who actually, like, watch the videos compared to who come to the streams. And so there's a lot of benefit. Every time I would go on YouTube, that's where my audience already is. So when I go live there, they just click my name, and bam, I've got, 8 times the follower, or 8 times the viewers than I normally do on Twitch. But the pros and cons of each platform, Twitch felt right. I don't know if Twitch will always feel right. I kind of think we have to for me, I'm waiting to see kind of what YouTube's going to do, what Twitch is going to do, if they're going to change anything, because there's a few features that I really love on Twitch, but then there's a few things that, like, it's just it's comparing, like, do I put all my eggs in one basket, or do I take a hit to diversify? That's sort of the game I play.
Quick question, because you probably know the answer to this question. I don't know if everyone knows this, but Twitch, when you kind of level up in Twitch, become affiliate or a partner, I think you just recently became a partner on Twitch, yeah?
I've been a partner for 2 years.
Oh, wow. Okay, geez. So basically, when you make the decision to become affiliated or partnered with Twitch, you are no longer allowed to simultaneously broadcast to the other platforms. If you're doing a Twitch stream, it needs to be Twitch only. So this is one thing I find is kind of annoying, because, as these other platforms start to develop, and you want to try some of those out, the only way to really do it is to only try there. You can't sort of suddenly double dip because they don't allow it. I guess they just watch for these kind of streams, and they sort of strike it down when it happens. I guess someone must be policing this in some form. I don't know how that works, but
yeah, I'm not sure. I'm sure there's a review board or something that
it has to be.
Some of it must be automated, but
so the question that I think that you might have an answer to is it the same the other way? Is there like some sort of partnership status with YouTube streaming, and that, like, do they have an exclusivity agreement or is it just Twitch that does this?
I think it's just Twitch, because there's a contract you sign when you become a partner.
Yeah.
There's an actual document.
Yeah.
Now, this is the fun part. I hope no one from Twitch ever watches this, because this is a benefit for us as artists. The contract is wrong that they send. They don't customize it. I have a lawyer. I have an attorney that specializes in streaming and YouTube and that kind of stuff. And when I first started working with him, I sent him the contract. I'm like, hey, like, I just signed this a little
Was
bit
this a
ago.
bad idea?
Oh,
I was like,
Lawyers love that. They
already signed it. So
Yeah.
can you please check it?
yeah, yeah. Am I screwed or what? Like, just tell me.
Not what you want to do.
Yeah.
I didn't know him yet. And I sent it. I'm like, hey, like, this is my partner contract. These are some of the ideas I have. What flexibility do I have? And he was kind of like, you can kind of do what you want to do. Like, this contract doesn't really apply to you. The default partner contract of Twitch says your game streams have to be on Twitch. You can't do gaming streams anywhere else. But I don't really do gaming streams. So
Interesting. It's like they probably never updated it for like like it's probably from a long time ago when it was mostly just gaming anyways, before like in real life chat sort of streams started becoming a big thing. Interesting.
Yeah. And so that's one of the things where, like, technically when I would go on, like, I know that when Harris used to do the same thing, he used to stream on YouTube for a little bit, pull people over to Twitch and unlist that stream.
That's right.
He had a specific clause put into his contract so he could do that. He worked that out with Twitch. I never had to go that far because the contract just never applied to me in the first place. I even brought it up to Twitch when I went to TwitchCon. I made friends with some of the people at the company, and I was like, hey, like, I think I had 2 or 3 things I was asking about that were just not in there. Like, I was like, hey, I want to do the animation analysis. I don't want to get DCMA'd for like putting clips on stream, but I want to be able to break them down. And they were like, you do what on Twitch? So
exactly.
Everything I did kind of went under the radar or went around their current stuff. It was just such a gray area.
Yeah. Interesting.
But yes, ultimately, like I definitely wouldn't be able to use Restream or something, which I know we're using that now and it helps people on all the different platforms. But as a branding thing, if someone were trying to make their own stream, I'm not a huge fan of Restream in different kind of multi-broad. Like I think it is better to pick a place and have that be your thing, unless like you guys are doing, like it's kind of your website is the main place, and then you like that's your hub, that's the place where they can know to find you, and then you're also doing this. But for individuals, I think it's better to pick a place anyway. Well, then your community all lives in one spot.
Yeah,
like,
I totally agree.
Each other's messages
of course, it begs the question: why don't you just double down on YouTube then? If your main platform is YouTube and they're offering streaming like services, I guess just because I feel like they're still playing catch up with Twitch, so they don't have all the fun bells and whistles quite yet. I guess that could be.
It's like a different experience. There's some stuff they're missing still. I think they'll definitely need to add.
Yeah.
The vibe in the community, it's like a different
totally
different feel for the audience. It's a different feel as the streamer. It's just a different platform with different pieces missing.
Yeah, it
does have the viewership, but there's more to it than that. And so however, I don't think I publicly announced this yet, but I'm doing it this week. So hey,
you heard it here first, folks.
I'm making a second channel, which is kind of a stupid idea when you think of how underwater I already am. But hey, there's so much stuff.
What's another channel at this point, right? A drop in the bucket.
Just you put them on. And it's going to be a place where I can do, because there's a lot of stuff that I want to do with YouTube, and this comes back to David, your original question of like back with the pressure of like a viral video. Does that change? There's a lot of stuff I don't feel I can do on my YouTube channel anymore. Both because I've kind of, I don't want to say pigeonholed, because I'm not like stuck in this little area, but there's a zone I belong in on YouTube now. It's what people have come to expect from me. It's what I am known for. It's my brand. It's like, it's all the pieces. But there's more to me than that. And while I wouldn't change what I have here, like there's just more I want to do. And I don't feel that adding it to the channel would be good for the channel. Like there's game stuff I want to do. There's like, I don't know. There's a bunch of ideas I have that they just don't fit. Right. And I need another place for it, and I don't have anywhere to put it. So
make like a miscellaneous channel just for whatever you want. It's like that's the whole point.
It's just going to be kind of the place where if you're like, I really like all this stuff, I want more.
Yeah.
Here's more behind the scenes, different things, and
It's interesting. You're talking about branding, and that's a theme that we've been discussing over the last few weeks as well. You also mentioned that you're considering yourself more of an introvert, and it's surprising how many people in our industry that we feel that whether they are streaming, creating content, putting themselves, going on stage, having those directing positions that are actually introvert as well. And for those that might not know what. It's not that you're shy. It's just that I've read this great description that was like, yes, that sounds exactly how we feel that extrovert are going to start with a average, level of energy, and the more they interact and talk with people, the more energized they're going to become. Introvert is the opposite. You start with your energy tank is filled, and the more you interact with people, the more it depletes. And at some point, like, okay, I just need to go alone for a few hours, and I'll be back. You'll be fine. You were talking about branding. Does it feel weird to you at some point to have to brand yourself, because it's kind of part of the work? Because branding yourself, it's almost like, okay, how am I going to present myself to the world under the spotlight? So does it feel weird to you, and how do you approach personal branding, which is a necessity when you're a YouTuber or online personality, or however we want to call it?
Yeah, it's definitely weird. It took a lot of getting used to and like figuring out. Luckily, I had a little bit of a kind of starter experience. Like, my wife is a YouTuber, and she has been for longer than I have. I saw her with her channel for a couple of years before I started mine. And so we had actually, but I was helping and being useful. She had rebranded. Like, that was the thing where, like, her channel was this, and she didn't like it, and she wanted to change to this, and that was that's hard to change what you've established into something else, because you have to change everything you're doing. The viewers have to understand that. A lot of them unsubscribe because they don't want the new thing. YouTube's algorithm, like, there was a lot of stuff that went into that, but we basically rebranded her channel, changed everything, and so I got to kind of see what it was like to have a personal brand, to see what it was like to have a channel centered around yourself, and then to refocus it, and what does that mean? And so when I started my channel, it was with an understanding of like kind of how to like draw a line between, this is my personal life that I don't share, and then this is the personal life that you get to know, and then this is everything else that I'm just going to openly share. And you kind of have those levels. Obviously, like, we actually tried travel vlogging for a while. When I quit DreamWorks and we went into travel, we tried to be travel bloggers, and that was the thing to do back then. We attempted it. We were terrible at it, but it kind of brought this level of awareness of like how much do you share? Like, we would film everything, but it's like, okay, well, that's our street name. I got to blur that in post. Like, little things like that, all the way to like, I look really stressed in this video and I'm ranting about this thing. Like, I think we made a video once about like how much we hated Spirit Airlines, and we posted it, and then we looked back and we're like, that's maybe not how we want to present ourselves. Like, what if someone comes for the first time and like, oh, this is a rant channel. Like, they don't know us. They don't know our background. Like, let's delete that. So I don't know if that answers any of your question, but personal branding wise, like,
no, it's in how would you decipher so what would you say is real Sir Wade compared to the Sir Wade that is presented to the world?
I'm much more edited in my content, as far as like, I think people always think like, oh, he says he's an introvert, and then he comes on camera, like, he's probably more calm, and like, I'm more kind of zany in like life. Like, it's if you look at my old videos where I'm just sitting there like talking to the camera, blah 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 blah, that was not me. That was me not being comfortable in my skin on camera.
Yeah.
And over time, I've gotten more like the whole right, all the things. That's me, and giving myself permission to act that way on camera and to just kind of own it takes time. And like, that's the part of me that is authentic. Like, when I leave the stuff and run around and I'm just a goofball, like, that's who I am. And so that's the part of the personal brand that, like, it's very easy to cut that stuff from videos because it's filler. It kind of wastes time. Like, people often want to click the video, get to the information, because a lot of my stuff's information based. It's educational, and so it's tutorials, and so there's not usually a lot of room for that. And so I've been trying more and more to let that shine through, because that's the stuff people like, but it's also the stuff that people leave because of. And it's that mix of like, do I cater to the analytics and the watch time of like, give them the information because YouTubers are wasting our time with these 7-minute intros and blah, blah, blah. Or do you say, screw it, like, this is my channel and my videos. I'm going to make this the way I want to make it. And it's fun. If you don't like it, go watch it somewhere else. That's fine. Do you? But this is what I want to make. And so it's kind of finding that balance.
And it's interesting that it started almost as a not a fake shy version of yourself, but a very contained version of yourself. It's actually as you getting more comfortable with the medium, the process, getting in front of the camera and all that, that you actually allow yourself to present. I'm sure there's definitely, you still want to, as you said, create the kind of personality, the kind of positive message that, yes, we all rent at time, but is it really what you want to, project to the world? Maybe not. So there's definitely some self-editing, but it's just very interesting to see that from your point of view. It's by getting comfortable with the medium and the process that you can allow more of yourself to be present on the camera, even if you choose which part of yourself. So it's still super genuine. It's just that you get to decide which genuine part do you put out there and which one do you leave on the side because you feel that it doesn't represent your brand or what you want to share with the world.
Yeah.
Super interesting.
It also gets really tricky with live, just because you don't have the opportunity to edit. So things will like slip out or like something will happen or like for me, like I like to share, I like to talk about stuff, but then sometimes I realize, oh wait, I'm not actually ready to talk about this yet. There's a reason I haven't told this for the first time. And so I'll be like, oh, I have this, actually, never mind. Then you hope you stop there, because if you're like, oh, actually I have these really, no, there's like 7, no, I can't talk about that. And like, you just, you don't want to do that.
It's real-time self-editing. I mean, it's part of the beauty of streaming. You feel the censorship that you put on yourself.
What the
exactly. That's what that button's for sure. Hey, we got 15 minutes left. We should probably go to Q&A if that's possible.
Oh, let's do it.
Yeah.
Unless Dave, you had one more thing you want to bring up.
No, I mean, yes, of course, many things, but we're just terrible at trying to keep half an hour. So let's go. Let's do it.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to pick, I'll pick Petar's because he just dropped one. So we'll go ahead and just ask this one here. Question. Have you thought about having a day job and then doing YouTube on the side? Sort of like what JD does, with much less pressure of appealing to the algorithm?
Well, I used to have that. That's what I started my channel. I was working at DreamWorks as a trainer. That's where I began. Yeah. And I decided to go full-time on YouTube to see what I could do. Unfortunately, so much of what I'm working on is not on the YouTube channel. So most people think he just doesn't post very often. Why doesn't he have he doesn't have what's he doing? But there are some developments to come, some interesting changes I'll be making in the next couple of months that I think are going to really revitalize the YouTube channel in a way that supports what you're asking. Very diplomatic answer.
Wow. Brent, you need a sound effects for this when he's dropping bombs like this.
He's got one. What do I got here? No.
Oh, I'll take it. Why? Thank you. Thank gosh.
Yeah.
Stop it.
I don't know what to say. I'm speechless. Now we're all going to be sitting here on the edge of our seats trying to figure out what's going to happen next.
That's me going, I have this. No, wait.
Yeah, that's it. You just did it. Thanks for that.
I like to call it season 2 of the YouTube channel.
Nice. Season 2. That's a good way to put it. It fits tidily alongside sort of like gaming culture. I think people will get that. I like it. Okay. So yeah, I guess that's the answer. So you're just going in the opposite direction. You started with a job doing this on the side, and then you're just like, wow, I'm kind of really interested in seeing what would happen if I were to kind of double down on that. And that's what you did. It's kind of nice because we can see the evolution of that. And by the sounds of it, maybe even possibly a bit of a course direction change at some point, depending on what's actually happening behind the scenes.
Who knows?
Who knows? Nobody knows except for you. I'm looking for another one. By the way, if you guys are asking questions, I'd love it when you put Q and colon in front of it, because it makes it really easy to pull out a chat. So if you're looking to ask a question, then that's a good way to do it. I know there was so many questions, and because the chat's been very active.
I saw a few pop up, but I don't remember what they were because I was like in the middle of talking. I was like, oh, a question.
Man,
I interest you in our latest sponsor, Raycon.
Yeah.
Okay. The wireless earbuds that are comfortable and
If anybody you did ask a question before, just ask it again right now and down in the bottom of chat. It'll make it a lot easier for me because my old man eyes have a hard time picking them out unless there's a queue. Oh, here's one right here. Whew. Saved by the queue. So is gaming sort of like your mind palace to get away from the noise?
definitely. It's
Mind palace. I never heard of that term before.
it's like the thing. Gaming for me, I'm a very like, I don't know if empathetic is the right word. I'm like a very engaged viewer, audience member of anything I consume. If I watch a movie, I want like do not talk to me, lights off. I don't want to glare on it. Like I need to sit. I want to experience this film the way it was meant to be watched. Like that's how I like to take stuff in, if possible. So when I play a game, when I watch a movie, when I do anything, I want to be immersed in it. And so when I play a game, I really like connect to the character. Like that's me on the screen. And so gaming for me works really well because if I'm Kratos and I'm running around like I am that character, I don't have a task list of 58 things to do. I don't have a deadline in 2 hours. I just have this boss to kill. That's it's great.
It just simplifies things a little bit.
Gives me a little moment of escapism.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm exactly the same way. I will typically go play a game. I've been playing a little bit of I'm almost sad to admit that I've been playing a little bit of World of Warcraft again for the first time in millions of years. And just because it's been like years, like literally years and years. And a friend of mine kind of piqued my curiosity. And next, I was in there playing around a little bit. It was fun. It's a nice place to disappear for about an hour or two. But it's hard to find the time. The nice thing about World of Warcraft is it's, even though it feels like it would be a lot of time, it doesn't have to be, because there's so many things to do now that you can just be like, oh, I'll just spend an hour doing a couple quests and then just feel like I did that. I just kind of, just got to disappear into a make-believe world for a little while before I go back and kind of do some things in the real world. And it is a nice escape. For sure. It's sometimes, I used to have a really big problem where I wouldn't know when to stop and I would just play for hours and hours and hours. And, sometimes I'll still do that, like on a weekend or something like that. I'll play for like 3 hours, but I don't usually allow myself to do that anymore, which is kind of sad because I miss those days of just literally just waking up and playing a game like literally all day, like I used to way back in the day. But I have another question. Here we go. This one is from that's not the one I meant to put, but this works. Do you have to research, quote unquote, for your animation tutorial videos? Have to rewatch other things, refer to your school notes, or read books, or do you just work from your big old brain?
I'm a genius. I don't have to look at anything. No,
there you go.
It's a mix. Usually I can remember enough of the stuff, and I might have to sit in Maya for a little bit and kind of refresh myself by doing. I'm more of like an active participant in the research process where I'm like, let me see if I can do it again. But there are times where I'm like, crap, what was that thing? And I have to go dig up notes or something. Usually I can just do it. and that comes back to the whole thing about like, what video can I knock out in, a couple of days? I usually will kind of make an outline to myself of like, what do I remember? And I'll work on that for a few days, kind of give myself time to prep. But there are several videos that I haven't done yet that require research, and that's why I haven't done them yet, because I haven't had the time to actually dig through, come up with stuff, make it better. So the ones I usually do, not so much research, but some I have planned require more.
Which is maybe one of the reasons why they haven't been made yet, among and not having the time as another good reason as to why they. It's funny because you always refer to these videos that you want to be making, but you never seem to be able to do it.
Yeah.
So this is the one I wanted to post. This one is this one gets us into the political muddy waters. So creatively_bad wanted to know what you thought about Adobe joining the Blender Fund.
I actually have a lot of Adobe thoughts. I'm actually working on a video right now about Adobe and their kind of stuff in the 3D space. What do I think of Adobe joining the Blender Fund? I think any company joining the Blender Fund is a good thing, because Blender being free, any company that gets involved just means more good stuff for everybody. I don't think there's a downside to that. Like I think just yesterday they announced, or they released their Blender plugin for Substance. So if you do texture work and you work in Blender, you can now natively do that. Which kind of gets into the whole thing about like Adobe and their 3D products, which that's not the question, but I actually have, I reached out because I have some contacts at Adobe, and I reached out to Adobe for comment on some of the Substance stuff, if anyone's following that, and their 3D decisions and pricing structures and different things. And they were very nice. They answered my questions. And I don't know. Adobe is expensive. They make great stuff, but it costs a lot of money. And you can tell that some of the decisions made are higher up decisions made for money. But I have a video tackling kind of the pros and cons and stuff coming up. But anyway.
I think that the general fear is just like, what does it mean for the future of Blender? It's not like they bought Blender; it's just that they joined the fund, right? So what does that mean? It means that they have shares in Blender somehow. Like I don't even know what it means to be joining the fund.
Oh, basically just means they're contributing financially to the development of Blender.
Okay,
presumably so that there's compatibility,
some
between the
crossover.
apps.
Okay, got it. That would be pretty cool. I mean, like all I know is I was a little sad when they bought Mixamo, and then they sort of just let Mixamo sit there. I mean, it's been cool because it's sitting there free for everybody, but it's not developing. It's just sort of sitting there, sort of frozen in time as this thing that could have been amazing that now just sort of sits there kind of derelict. I know it's because they took a lot of those features and brought them into some of their own Adobe features. Like I think their character generator, which I think is called Adobe Character now, they were interested in taking pieces of it, and because it all used to be there on Mixamo. Now the only thing that's there is their auto rigger is still available, which a lot of people don't know, but it is. You can upload a character and it still goes through the whole. And if you've never used their character generator character auto rigger before, you should, because it's unbelievable. The fact that you could just in screen space tell it where the joint should be, and it does such an amazing job. My only complaint was, and still remains, which is why it makes me sad that it's not developing anymore, is there's no roll bones or anything like that. So you're gonna get really old school, like 1980s style rigs with like candy wrapper wrists. But anybody who knows anything about rigging knows that they could go ahead and save out the skin weights, add a couple influence objects to make sure that you can get a bunch of decent roll bones in the forearm and just sort of reskin that area, and then boom, Bob's your uncle. You're good to go. So it does like 90% of what you need in a pretty good way. So you should check it out. But yeah, I'm just sad because I thought it seemed like it was heading in a really interesting direction, and then it just sort of stopped, and now it's sort of just stale. Big companies have a tendency to do that, unfortunately. And so I think that's probably the fear. But by the sounds of it, if they're just contributing funds, then that's awesome.
Yeah, them joining the fund, I don't think is any negative for anybody, which is a good thing.
Yeah. It seems like it, because they're just trying to build the ecosystem and hopefully be part of the party by making sure there's some cross compatibility, and then everyone gets something out of that. Adobe gets something out of it. The people using Adobe products get something out of it, and people using Blender get something out of it. So not a lot of downside of that.
Brent, there was a question. That was from Sunny Muthreja. It was a little back, and Peter actually put it back. So as you try to find it, Sir Wade, how does your schedule affect your sleep pattern?
There is no pattern. If left to my own devices, I become naturally nocturnal. That's something that I found in college to be a fact, just because it's hot in the daytime, it's cool in the nighttime. I'd rather be awake when it's cool and when it's quiet and there's not a bunch of notifications. That's always been an issue for me, communication-wise. So I tend to be a night owl, but work-wise, I mean, I like to tell people I work from 9 to 3 every day. And they go, wow, 9 to 3? And I go, yeah, 9 a.m. to 3 a.m. There's no sleep schedule. And because often that window shifts. Like last night, I was up until 7 or 8 in the morning. And so then I slept until 15 minutes before I got on here. And I'll be awake for the rest of the day. And I'll work probably until 2 or 3 in the morning again. So it affects it. There's no off switch. That's the thing when you do this kind of stuff full time, is like there's really no end to it. You can make yourself a schedule, but you also can work forever. So,
and is it something that you feel that is a challenge, or on the other side, it's like, this is perfect because being a night owl is my natural rhythm, and this allows me to be more in sync with my natural rhythm?
It has its pros in that way, where like if I need to do something at a certain time, like there's nothing that says I can't. But it is, I often have this conversation with my wife where we kind of like, we look at things, or we look at commercials, or like a TikTok or something happens, and you see someone like, oh, we're out on the porch watching this and, enjoying the landscape. And it's just like, wow, what it must be like to like have a normal life where you're off at 6 p.m. and you can enjoy your evenings. Like we don't experience that. We work all day, all the time, nonstop. We don't take breaks. We don't take vacations. Like we take breaks to not burn out. And those breaks are a couple hours long, or we take a little day trip here, but then we're shooting content. And so it's like, we're always on. And it's what we've chosen. So it's not, it gets rough.
It's super interesting, because I'm pretty sure that the vast majority of those that have 9 to 5 job are looking at, YouTubers and other like freelancers or anyone that doesn't have a fixed schedule and like, oh my God, that's the dream.
Yeah.
And on the other side, you're like, yeah, that's the dream, that you work all the time
Yeah.
nonstop and you have no vacation. That's what the dream
Exactly.
looks like.
Yeah, I guess
I struggle with this too a lot. It just feels like there's always something you can do, right? There's always a big list of things that you could be doing. And it just feels weird not doing them. Like it's because there are things that are important and there are things that, if you spent some time doing, you could, so it's hard to not, I always have had this problem. I just tend to kind of just get buried in the work. And but there's other the cost usually is that you don't have this, you're not synchronized with all, maybe your friends or even in some cases your family. It's that there's an asynchronicity there that that is not always the greatest, but it requires a little bit of trickery and balance, that's for sure.
Yeah. I think one of the big plus, if the con of this existence of what I do, if the con is you work all the time and you hope that you enjoy what you do, even though there's parts that you're not going to, the flip side is the harder you're willing to work, the more opportunities you're going to be given. Like that's not always true in a normal job. You can work like super, super hard, but there's a cap to how much you're going to earn, or there's a cap to there's like a timeline you got to fit. There's other people, there's structure, like there's rules. And doing this kind of stuff, there's kind of not. Some people are able to work so hard that they just create amazing opportunities, and then it becomes worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the biggest challenge when you have your own brand or you have your own business or you're having your own project. It's an infinite game. There's no there's no boundary. You could literally work 120 hours. No one is stopping you, and you know that the more you put into it, the more. So it's sometimes it's difficult to try to not live too much in the future and not burn yourself to create a better future for yourself.
Exactly.
And try to have at least 1 foot in the present and remember that, that's the only real moment now. So I need to do all those things, but I also need to enjoy this journey, because otherwise I'm going to wake up at 70. I will be completely depleted. I will have not put at good use all those years that has a lot of energy and motivation. And now I'm bitter about it because I overworked myself. So I think that those that have very boring, unfulfilling 9 to 5 job might say, "Oh yeah, that's not a real problem." But that's something that you need to be careful, because it's very easy to burn out when you know that there's a direct correlation between the number of hours you put in and the success of future you at some point.
Exactly. It goes back to that conversation about just task lists, right? Like it's like, when you have your YouTube channel with all kinds of big plans and aspirations, you have your own business or community, like what we're trying to build. It's like there's always going to be something that you could be doing. Always. There is never an end to the list. There's
no off switch. There's no off switch ever.
So you have to choose between getting that next big thing done that you're going to feel gratified for, that the community is really going to like, or, choosing to just turn off and play a game, or spend the afternoon with the family, or now that bars are actually open, or restaurants are opening back up, maybe going and, God forbid, having a drink with a friend on a terrace. You have to choose to do those things. It's not like it's 5 o'clock, the doors close and you go home and then you just pick one of those things to just do naturally. It's like you actually have to choose to walk away, and that's not always the easy thing to do, that's for sure.
Yeah, especially when you're working with, like, some of the companies I work with are overseas. And so when I'm like, end of the day, they're like, time to get up.
Yeah, exactly.
Email time.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
If you can get to the point that you don't feel guilty of just having to just relax, it's a great place to start. That's for sure.
We're over time. Do we have time for one last question that just popped up that I think is interesting, and then we can end the stream? Do you got the time there, Sir Wade?
Yeah, I've got a buffer. I've got time for some more questions.
We'll do one more here.
I like the name of this one.
Yeah.
Sleep deprived animator.
Yeah, I almost feel like someone went
Perfect
and made
segue.
a new account just for the effect because it's totally on point. It's like we got their attention. Question: any advice on how to navigate the social media aspect of branding and how to keep out of the dark side of social media? The dark side.
I'm assuming
Sound effect.
Yeah. Let's see. What do I have for this one? Well, I have
The dark side.
That works.
if you get too close to it.
Yeah.
Let's see. To clarify, since you're in chat, to clarify by dark side of social media, like, are we talking about like, I don't know, like getting canceled for doing something bad? Like, I feel like that one's pretty easy to not do. I don't think that's what you mean.
Yeah, or is like dark side just being clickbaity and annoying?
Mm.
Which one is it? I know
While
they're
you,
still there.
while you
Or-
clarify, I will answer
Take
the
a
first
crack
one.
at it.
To navigate the social media aspect of branding. It's
Annoying.
easy to get
He just answered
overwhelmed.
annoying, or he or she answered annoying.
Ah.
They.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's easy to get kind of overwhelmed by, like, if you want to kind of have a personal brand and you want to do stuff on social media and you want that to be part of your job, there's so much constantly happening. Like, I mean, that's why I don't look at my phone. That's why I don't check notifications. It's like there's so much going on constantly. Like, it could be someone trying to get a hold of me, it could be a work thing, or it could just be like, hey, like, this new thing just came out, or this is being released, or this new company exists, or this person shared this, or this company's hiring. And like, there's all of these things constantly happening on all these different platforms. And on top of the consumption side of it, there's also like, do you want to post on all these? Like, Instagram has Reels. Oh, they're not a photo sharing app anymore. Like, that's news for that. And then, YouTube has Shorts, and then TikTok, and like, there's just so much for producing and for consuming.
Yeah.
And, there's live streaming and all the different platforms and all the different things. You have to be very careful of a number of things. You have to kind of, as we said before, you have to balance like your mental health with it. Like, for people who spend as much time on social media as my wife and I do, we are consuming from them shockingly little. Our screen time on our phones is like maybe 3 hours. Where like a lot of people, I think it's more than that. And really, those 3 hours are usually posting or research. We're not usually on them for enjoyment because that's work. Like Twitter, Instagram, these are workplaces for us. They're not like, oh, just go scroll. If we just scroll, our mental health's going to take a dip because we're going to see all the great content this person's making. Oh, look what this person's doing, da 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 da. And then you get into comparison, and you have to avoid that. So you don't want to feed into that, and you don't want to be hurt by it. So you just have to try to focus on what you want to make the best you can, and just focus on the good creative stuff. Don't clickbait, like kind of as I said, like try to just make a good community, make a good thing to solve that need of what you kind of started for, and don't lose sight of that. Something else I thought of, something you asked earlier, David, was about kind of like the pressures of things. That's actually something I spend a lot of time. One of the biggest pressures for me is, since I am one of the kind of earlier people to be doing this on YouTube for our industry, I'm trying to set a good example. Because eventually there will be lots of us. There will be tons of people on YouTube and Twitch and all these. It's growing now, but eventually I feel like it'll become like every other industry, saturated on the platforms. And I want people to have good examples of kind of blueprints to follow. Should I be able to do this? Should I not do this? Oh, well, this is what Sir Wade did. Let's go with that. And I want that to be a good solution. So for me, a lot of the pressure of how I do things is based on looking to the future and trying to. There's a lot of stuff. I had great ideas of like, this would be a great video. I want to do this. I want to make this. But I feel like if someone else were to also do that because they saw me do it, they wouldn't put maybe the same level of thought into why I did it the way I did it. And it could end up being a bad thing. And so I don't even do that idea, even though I know it could be beneficial to me.
You don't want to start a trend. With great power comes great responsibility, Sir Wade.
That's right.
Awesome.
Okay, well, on that big, profound note, I think we should probably wrap up the stream because it's 10 minutes over. I don't want to take up any more of your precious time. I'm honored that we somehow managed to be on that sort of organic radar of important things, and you ended up spending an hour and 45 minutes with us, actually. So, well, plus another 9. So thank you. Honestly, thank you very much on behalf of the community. It was awesome to have you. Hopefully we'll have you back again someday down the road. It's always awesome to hang out and catch up.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. And thanks everybody for being here. I see a lot of familiar names and
oh yeah,
I say familiar faces, but avatars.
Yeah. There's definitely, I get the feeling that there's a lot of crossover for sure. There's a lot of people that are regulars in here that are probably regulars in your channels as well. So it's always nice to see that kind of crossover. It's exactly what Agora.Community was sort of setting out to do, is to try to like find a way of getting some of our people to discover people like you, because you make such great content, and I think they should know who you are, and because they're probably hungry for something they might not have even noticed. This happens all the time in these streams, which sometimes surprises me that, like, you know, how can you be an animator and like live on the internet like everyone does these days and not come across some of the personalities that end up on the stream? But it happens, and it's always nice when those connections can be made. So very cool. That was awesome. Okay.
Thanks for Wade for being there.
Please do enjoy the rest of your days, gentlemen. Are you going to do some sort of glorious exit? I dare ask. Do you need me to?
First, I'm going to drop my link to my latest video in the chat.
Go
watch it.
Boom. Very good idea. Very good idea.
Shameless plug.
Yes, I like how you stealthily joined our conversation via Twitch for that wonderful little drop. Good stuff. That's the one that just dropped today?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, I'll check it out. I'll have to go back and grab that link from actual Twitch rather than this interface because I can't click on it. Okay, well, thank you, David. Thank you, Sir Wade. Enjoy the day.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see you on the next one. Cheers, guys.
Thanks, everybody. It's just me.
Oh my God, that was amazing. This is what happens when you click a little too fast. I'm just going to let this moment live a little longer so we can make it as awkward as possible before you disappear into the shadows. Thank you, Sir Wade. I'll try that again. What out there? You can do the game over at the very least. Oh, that's better. All right. Bye, Sir Wade. Yeah, I suck. I don't know how to press buttons properly, apparently. So obviously it was awesome to have Sir Wade. He's got a bazillion things going on at any given time. I will never reveal my secret way of getting hold of Sir Wade in fear that other people may actually start finding him the same way. And then what do I have? I got nothing. So I'm glad that secret didn't come out on air. So yeah, thanks a lot for showing up today, chat. Obviously, lots of really good information coming out of that one. I think it's fun that we can talk to Sir Wade about an aspect of his life that doesn't really get talked about that much. And I think that it's important probably for, you know, I don't know, just for people in general who follow people online. It's nice to expose some of the trials and tribulations that go along with having the dream job, as David put it. Like, it does, grass is always green on the other side. It's obvious that he likes doing it. There's no doubt. I mean, he loves it. I'm sure he loves it. There's no way. But just because you love something doesn't mean it doesn't take a lot of effort and a lot of energy. So, you know, I'm just glad that there are people like Sir Wade out there putting that kind of content out on a regular basis, and hopefully he doesn't get sick of doing it. We'll see everybody, I guess, on the next stream. We do have one tomorrow. I should have this up, but I never learn my lessons, so it's not up. Let me just take a look. Just trying to get the exact time. No, it is Thursday. It's not tomorrow. So wait a minute. Tomorrow is Thursday. Jesus, I got to go to bed. So tomorrow, the 22nd of this month at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard. So it's a little later than most of our streams. We're going to be meeting with Stephen. Yes, I cannot say his last name. I don't know why. Why do I always get the guests who I can't say their last names? USPO. He's one of the Animal Warrior instructors, and he's awesome. We had a good chat previously. He's got a lot of experience, and he's got a lot of things to talk about with regards to Animal Warriors, and we have a special announcement on that particular stream. So please do tune in. We'll make sure that announcement goes on social as well, in case you can't make the stream, obviously. But if you show up to stream, you'll hear the information, or you'll hear the exciting news first, which I think you're going to be pretty excited by. Okay, so I will hopefully see some of you then tomorrow. Otherwise, I'll see some of you maybe on Sunday during our free live streaming review. On Sundays at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard. Talk to you guys around. Talk to you guys later. See you around. Cheers.